Hi everyone. Bike security. Now we've got several bikes. I've got quite a nice mountain bike, and we've also got a couple of folding electric bikes. And it occurs to me I need to think a bit more seriously about how I'm locking them up. Not so much when they're at home, but when we're out and about in them. Now, we don't leave them all day while we're in an office, for example. I mean, I do with mine, but my folding bike, but that's actually down in a locked room, which, you know, is quite difficult to get to. You need a security card to get through several levels of access. And I lock it anyway. But, you know, if we're out doing touristy stuff, then typically might lock the bikes to a railing or similar while we're going to have lunch, or we're visiting a cathedral or other tourist attraction. And the last thing we want to do is come back and find that they've disappeared. So I do have a set of bike locks. I have a couple of U locks, one of which is, you know, very high spec, one is very good. The problem with those, I find, is that you know, the U-lock is quite big. It's difficult to take with us. You can break it down and put it in a backpack, but it's a big lumpy thing and it's heavy. And also, it often doesn't stretch around things. It won't stretch around both bikes and and a railing, or it won't stretch round. It's not wide enough to go around a lamppost, for example, or some other sort of post in the ground. Now, I've also got some of these metal cable locks. I've got one which claims to be quite a sort of high security rating, but frankly, from what I can see and what people have said, is that it takes very little effort with a set of bolt croppers to get through those. So they're not really a particularly serious defence. So the question is how to square that circle. So I've ordered a different type of bike lock, and I'm going to have a look at it now and see if it looks any good. Okay, so this has just arrived. I can already tell it's quite heavy. Which I guess is a good sign from being in terms of being strong. Well, obviously I'll have to carry this with the bikes. Right, so here it is. This is the Foldylock 90. I think the 90 refers to the fact that it all unfolds to 90 centimetres. That gives us a clue as to how this thing works. So why I'm interested in this is because the shape varies. So a bit like a cable lock, it's not as long as a cable lock, but you can get it round things. Whereas obviously a U-lock, it's got a fixed width, and you're not going to be able to get it. If there's something that's even just a few millimetres wider than that, you're not going to get it round there. So it's obviously got a mounting bracket here to go on your bike if you want to mount it like that. There's some mounting equipment, and there are some keys and some other tools. Oh, there's 3 keys. That's useful actually, because it means I can keep keys on different key rings. Okay. Okay, so there's the unit. That is fairly chunky. I'm going to get some scales and try that and see what that weighs. Okay, I've got my not very high-tech scales. Let's just set this to 0. Okay, it's 1.7 kilos. So let me just do the calculation, but if you want to see it in pounds, between 3/4 pounds. It does actually feel heavier than that. So this is the mount that you can put on the bike. So I guess does it just pull straight out? Oh yeah. So it pulls. It's just a friction thing. Slides in and out. And then, there we go, that just unfolds like that. And we've got the keys open. It says the world's strongest folding lock. I think it's the world's strongest packaging as well. To try and butcher this with a carving knife. So you start to get into it. Oh, right, finally. So let's see. So this is obviously mounting. It's a mounting kit for this, I guess. Okay, some sort of plastic hex grub screws. Right, okay, oh, it's got a little manual as well, and some stickers. And it's got a, right, 3-year warranty. Keys look pretty high security. Not that I suspect anyone trying to steal your bike, if it's in a public place, is going to bother trying to pick one of these locks, but they're going to try and just cut through this. And I suspect any of these also is not particularly strong when it comes to using an angle grinder. I'm certainly not going to test that. I do see they've got some defences here, because this looks like the weak points here, but it does feel pretty strong, and apparently they've got some inserts in here that mean that you can't easily get some sort of like a nut splitter or something in there to pull this apart. Let's try doing this. So it's just like a car ignition lock. Actually, it's nice positive feel on that. Right, so undone. And you can actually see it moving. Yeah, I like that. And you can't withdraw the key in the unlocked position, which is true of my Abbas U-lock. It's sort of a safety feature, so you don't just leave it unlocked. There we go. Now, mentioning Abbas make and have for a while made some of these sort of locks, and they get pretty good reviews. Not as good as their U-lock. I mean, the U-lock I understand is the sort of the strongest, because it doesn't have all these joints which can make it weaker. Also, and this is from, it's an American company, this Foldylock by Foldylock, strange name, and they do a range of these. This is the top of the range one. So I think this was about £100. Say it's their 90. I can't remember if they. So they do a lighter duty one of these, which I think is also a shorter length than 90. Okay, so insert that through whatever part of your bike frame, round something, and then again, actually, it's got quite a nice click there. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it's a reasonable size there, but the important thing is it's flexible. So if you're going round a post, then you've got a bit more space to get around that post. So, okay, that looks pretty good. So let's just check how it folds away. Just folds like this, and then goes into its little housing. I suppose the only thing with this is, if you don't put it in the housing and you could put it in a backpack, it's sort of going to all probably come undone and be a bit awkward in the backpack. So it might be worth getting one of these reusable cable ties just to tie it all together, or a strong rubber band or something to just put around there to keep it together in the backpack. Okay, cool. So I shall decide whether to install that on my bike. Oh, and I've just worked out what these do. So on bikes where you've got a water bottle mounting, you can just use it with these screws provided and sort of go like that. And you can, there's a hole down there, so you can then screw that from with the provided Allen key. But if you don't have that, or you want to keep that and install this somewhere else on your bike, so that it's already shaped, and I guess these would go in there, those little inserts, and then you can use these sort of like cable ties to secure it to the frame somewhere where you don't actually have any mounting points. So maybe we'll actually try that now. So here's my folding electric bike. So the bottle holder is there, so it would go there. Now, this is quite wide, so the question is, what's that going to be like? Well, I suppose it doesn't stick out any wider than this handle, this release handle, so it shouldn't interfere with your cycling. Okay, maybe we'll have a go at that. This bike's already got these bolts in there, so I could probably use those, or just take them out and replace them with the ones that come on, that are supplied. Right, use the old, this is my cheap, really old set of Allen keys from when I was an apprentice. One of the old boys working at the engineering firm gave me this gold block tobacco tin to keep them in. That was in the 1980s. Right. Hello. Nice to see there's some thread lock on there to prevent that vibrating out on its own accord. I don't know where this Allen key came from. This is just one that randomly fits. It probably came from a piece of furniture. Flat pack. Right. So that goes. Okay. So we screw these in part way. Be able to give it, a bit of extra tightening. Don't want to go too tight and be screwing into aluminium, I believe. I don't think there's a metal insert, a steel insert in there. That's pretty solid. Well, this is where we find we can't get it here. It's in. Right, look, there we go. There's your problem. Now we've done that, it doesn't actually fit in. It might do if I just temporarily fold this down. It'd be annoying if that's the case, but it'll be better than nothing. Otherwise, no, it's still not going to fit. So it does prove you need quite a bit of clearance, because it's quite a long lock unit. So maybe well, even if it was the other way around, I don't think it's going to fit. Okay, that's a bit annoying. Now on this bike I do have this pannier, so I can pannier bag. So I'll probably just drop this in there, which is fine, but it's a bit of a pity that the design of this is such that you can't actually use it unless you've got really all of that clearance height available. Okay, we'll have to remove that. Worth noting though, if you do plan on having one of these and fitting it to your bike frame, think about the dimensions here. So it's 8 inches, just over 20 centimeters long. So the end of this is approximately 2 inches from that hole. That means that if you measure where that hole is on your frame, the top one, you're going to need 10 inches clearance in order to get this in. Oh well, not the end of the world for me, that's fine, but it's just a bit inconvenient. Okay, so the next test really is to see how convenient this is to actually use. I'm just going to use the jack leg of the camper here as an example of a post I might want to tie up to. It's quite a narrow post, so it's a lot narrower than you know, a piece of street signage. Apologies for the sounds of guns, it's the shooting ground opposite. Okay, so we've got our lock out, we've unlocked it, key stays in. Okay, so we can go around there. Well, that's pretty easy. I mean, they do always say to put it round to leave as little space as possible, because the more space you've got, apparently the easier it is to get a crowbar in there and try and lever at these things. Though I suspect you'd just do more damage to the bike you were trying to steal if that was the case. But certainly there's plenty of space there. It's quite easy to do. I'll try doing it another way. I think this would be, because of the thickness here, it'd be difficult to get through the wheel, because you've got, that's quite a large diameter, plus you've got this piece of steel. Yeah, that's good. I'm pretty happy with that. Although, as you can see, I've now got it covered in oil from the chain. And by the way, this is coated in a, there's the steel, but it's coated in a plastic, so it's hopefully shouldn't scratch the bike frame when you're doing that. Right, so I'm quite pleased with that. Fine. And it can then just save in here, and it's not too long, so yeah, that's fine. Actually, I'll probably ditch that cable lock.